Oh, I'm so glad you made it back. I was just getting to an aha moment that I wanted to talk to you about, mostly about the difference between toxic positivity and being fully embodied and helping one another into growth and life change and just feeling good about life again. Also, I've been talking about glimmers and gratitude. I do gratitude lives once a week. But the more I get into glimmers, the more I understand that glimmers are embodied. Kind of like toxic positivity is all in the brain and doesn't see nor hear the other person. Sometimes just spouting off gratitude without standing in the moment, not being embodied in the moment, not letting your other senses in, but just your intellect. I'm so glad that you're here today. We're going to spend part of our time on a walk and part of our time here in my space in South Jersey. If any of this resonates or sounds kind of interesting, or maybe you'd like to shout at me, then this is the right video for you. If we haven't met yet, my name is Julie Jordan Scott, and I own this channel, Aging Joyfully, where we talk about all the great things about getting older. And yes, we're honest and sincere, and sometimes things can be kind of suckish, but we look at them from a perspective that helps us to grow and feel better and have more understanding instead of just whining, complaining, and taking no action about it. I'm doing my morning walk and write, which is something I used to do all the time that I haven't done much of lately. But since I'm in a different setting, I'm in South Jersey today. I'm at Parvin State Park. Really nice state park. I'm impressed. I haven't explored it much, but I know there's a lot to enjoy. And I even met a woman kayaker. If you know, you know. You'll know more later. But I've been thinking about my video from yesterday, or the last video that I published, which I will link to in the description. Or if I do manage to figure out how to put a card in here, I'll do that also. But I'm really thinking about what joy means. And the whole premise of that last video is you can be joyful and grouchy. You can be unhappy and still have joy. I think this is super important to remember. But also, it's good to remember about how joy feels. Because joy is not like giddy happiness. Joy is deeper. It's grounded. It's soulful. It's a choice to cultivate joy. When we talked about glimmers last week, I mentioned how glimmers are different from gratitude in that they come from a feeling inside of us. So they come from the senses. They come from something we observe and something we let in, like an invitation, like that profoundness that I felt when I've talked to some of you about this when I went kayaking last week. That's like a mountaintop glimmer. But even just an everyday glimmer, smelling the roses, the wild, unexpected roses that took me from grumpy to grounded, just like that. You know, it's like in the sigh exhale of pleasure. That moment when you're like, oh, okay, everything will be all right. But if you were going on and on in your head, chattering, scolding yourself for being angry, saying, I should be grateful, how's that going to lead you to joy? I'm grateful that I have a car. I'm grateful that my feet work. I'm grateful that... How does that make you feel? So joy is based in grounded optimism. Toxic positivity will say something like, well, you should be grateful because think of all the things you have that other people don't have. Well, that is not only toxic positivity, it has some shame sprinkled in there. And what shame does, it shuts people down. And when a person is expressing something like that, they're neither hearing nor seeing the person. They'd be better off saying, well, tell me more about why you're feeling the way you do. Or, I understand it must really suck to feel that way. Although I probably wouldn't use the word suck normally, but that's just me. One of my favorites is people who say, everything happens for a reason. Just stop talking about it. Don't get stuck on it. Turn your brain off. I have to say, this kind of thing, I frequently will find my way back into those ugly spaces. And guess what gets me out of that? writing. That's why I was doing a walk and write, because I could be outdoors and I could sit down on a bench and I could look out over the lake and I could relax and I could put words to what I was feeling instead of it just cycling around over and over again in my head. Now, is that writing going to be a chapter in a best-selling book? Probably not, but it will be a way for me to put it on paper and to work with it. So simple. And believe me, I know that every nasty feeling does not require, nor do you want to pick up a pen and write. I understand that. Like, everything you see is not a nail. When you have your hammer in your hand, you think that everything is a nail, and it's not. That works for me. What I would ask you is something like, well, what might be meaning for you? Or if we were in a conversation, what question would you want me to ask? Or even better yet, what question do you not want me to ask? That's a great one. People in our age group understand that life is not always a bed of roses, especially if you've been walking around planting zucchini all the time, because while zucchini may be more nutritious, after all, it won't be red and pink. It will be green, and it might make you more healthy, but it won't be the roses. You know, with our lives, we have learned that we don't need to spend a lot of money on a resort vacation to feel gratitude. We know that we don't have to do anything extraordinary to feel better about life. That's what grounded optimism is. Sometimes when we wake up and see more zucchini than roses, we realize that we just need to take a walk, and we may need to, or have the desire to, write in our journal to get the stuff out that happened with another zucchini popping up. And you might want to write to integrate those feelings that you're having about said zucchini, who is simply being a zucchini because you planted a zucchini. Time to forgive yourself and use that zucchini to help you be healthier. And the next time, plant a rose, or go to the store and buy one. Buy a rose, fully grown. It'll make you feel better, temporarily. And meanwhile, the writing or talking with your friends, or just being present and in your body instead of whirling around in your brain, this is where the glimmers, and this is where the true joy actually lives. Aging joyfully does not pretend everything is wonderful when it isn't. Aging joyfully has practiced and will continue to practice in telling the truth and showing up, not feeling like you're going to get shut down every step along the way. We do not want to spend all our time in positive vibes only. We know that life is too important to not constantly have motivational posters flooding our brains and our thoughts. We're bigger and more important, more significant, and are more rooted than all those ridiculous memes with ridiculous pictures, and these days are probably AI generated. We have come to know and understand, and are learning more every day, the power of telling the truth and stepping into it and accepting what comes. We understand the significance of saying what is true, not labeling it whether it is good or bad. And in the words of our friend Mary Oliver, she actually said it like this in her poem, Instructions for Living a Life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. That's sort of what a lot of us vloggers do. That is kind of what a lot of us who understand grounded optimism, glimmers, and aging joyfully. We know this. We know this intuitively, even if we haven't been able to wrap words around it yet. So go for the walk, or if you can't do that, take the drive. If you can't do that, watch a video of your friend doing one of those things. Be astonished by what you see, feel, hear, touch, taste, experience, ponder, etc. And then tell about it. Share it with a friend. Share it in a video. On some days that's a big ask and it requires a lot of trust. But we know that grief exists. We know that loneliness is out there. We may have felt it 10 minutes ago. We understand that we will have mountaintop experiences, and we will have times when we find ourselves face planted in the dirt. Or maybe that's just me. And we know that sometimes the joy comes in laughing with ourselves and then telling about it. Everybody loves a blooper reel. At least I hope y'all do. Plans unravel, relationships end, and we are still here. And that is worth celebrating. So what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts about this video in the comments. I would also love, if you're a person who wants to write more about their experiences, to come to the upcoming journaling experience here at Aging Joyfully. We're going to start on June 22nd through June 26th. If you're watching this after those dates, well, guess what? You can watch the replays and experience it almost live. That's one of my favorite things when I host lives, is to be sure that the people who are watching the replay get as much value and joy out of it as the people who are there initially. So thanks again. I don't think we have a blooper reel today on this thing. On Monday, we had an amazing blooper escapade on our live stream. You can watch that in a short if you would so like. Again, this is Julie Jordan Scott. You bring so much joy to my life. I'm really trying to grow the channel. So if you know anybody who could relate to this, I would really appreciate you sharing this video or any of the other ones that resonate more with you, either on YouTube itself in a post, or if you want to take it to other social media platforms. That would make my day. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next video. And being willing to show the full gamut of emotions without feeling like you're going to get shut down at every step of the road. Or not feeling like you're going,